Hello and welcome to this videocast and podcast from Melbourne, Australia for subscribers to davidicke.com. Well, forgive my glazed look, but I've just turned the television off after watching Hillary Clinton's acceptance speech for the Democratic nomination for president. Apart from the clothes she was wearing and the fact that she's female, I could have been watching the Republican convention from a few days ago when Donald Trump made his acceptance speech for the Republican nomination. And when you watch the childlike nature of the people in the convention halls, it is no surprise whatsoever that we get the horrific politicians and political leaders that we do. They sit there, stand there, cheering in all the right places. Actually, if they did any research, all the wrong places. And they wave their placards. Here's one for Obama, here's one for Clinton, here's one for Trump, here's one for Trump for women, here's one for Clinton for women. And then you have the directors of the television coverage, which is supposed to be impartial, cutting up all these images just at the right point in the speech. And you see people, election after election, lied to by professional liars and professional psychopaths, telling them what they want to hear, knowing full well that whether Republican or Democrat, once the cheering dies down and someone's elected to office, whichever party it is, they will go on doing what their corporate and hidden hand masters tell them to do and fund them to do. And we have had some little chinks of light, a sign that some people are starting to get just some of it in the supporters of Bernie Sanders and the way that they have rejected Hillary Clinton. And I'll come to that later. It's not anything as far as we need to go in understanding how it all works, but it's a start. And so we have, and I've been researching the Clintons since the mid-1990s. We have the personification of political mendacity and political corruption. We have someone whose political career, not least as Secretary of State under Obama, has been catastrophic for so many people, not least people with brown faces in the Middle East. We have the Clintons up to their neck in financial corruption. We have them with a stream of unexplained deaths of people over decades who, in some way or other, threatened their, it's not the right word, but I'll use it, reputation. And right up to this speech today, we have had email leaks showing that the establishment of the Democratic Party not least led by the chairwoman now resigned because of it, Wasserman Schultz, systematically conspiring to undermine Bernie Sanders' campaign so that the chosen one, Clinton, can get in. And Clinton, as usual, with all these scandals decade after decade, says, I didn't know it was going on. But what does she then do? She appoints Wasserman Schultz as honorary head of her presidential election campaign. So right up to this speech, still more confirmation of Clinton's corruption, which is, in her case and her husband's case, genetic. And still, I have just watched thousands of people who will ludicrously persuade themselves they have a mind of their own, who have cheered someone with that record and want her to be president of the United States. We have seen Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Michelle Obama, Meryl Streep, clueless celebrities for Hilary.com, by the way, Chelsea Clinton, all of them standing up and eulogizing. Oh, Bill Clinton, of course, eulogizing over this godlike, goddess-like figure of sobriety, truth and honesty, when they all know what I know about, well, Meryl Streep apart, clueless celebrities for Hilary.com. They all know what I know about her background and the true nature of who she is. Hilary cares for children. Well, they should read books like Transformation of America by a former mind-controlled slave of the American military stroke government stroke intelligence community. And see, going way back decades, what Hillary Clinton was up to then, what Bill Clinton was up to then, how close, fundamentally close, they are to the Bush family as supposed to be political opponents. They should read whistleblowers' books. They should read, if they want to know, my book from the mid-1990s, And the Truth Shall Set You Free, and The Biggest Secret that followed, and see how the Clintons and the Bushes were running drugs through the Mena airstrip in Arkansas during the Iran-Contra scandal, and when Bill Clinton was governor for Arkansas. They should see what a farce it all is. Are you listening, Meryl? What do you know about Hillary Clinton? Well, she's a woman and I'm a woman. What more do you need to know? Because the fact that she's a woman is irrelevant. It's not whether you're a man or a woman or black or white. It's the content of your character, as Martin Luther King said. And so this attempt to elect Hillary Clinton as president is not about electing the first woman president. It's about electing the first female asset of the hidden hand and the corporate networks that up to this point have been controlling the men in the White House. the outcome for women, the outcome for children, the outcome for America and the world is not going to change because Hillary Clinton's a woman. It would change if Hillary Clinton was a woman not connected to the hidden hand. But she is, and so nothing will change. She will, if we let her do it, and she becomes president, she will take the world into World War III with the West pitched against Russia, China. Because that's the plan. And she will do anything to advance the plan because she is completely and utterly controlled by those that direct the plan. She said in her speech just now how she'll take on the banks and take on the corporations. What? You mean the ones funding her to a limitless amount so that she will become president to represent their interests? Hilary, Hilary. It's extraordinary. And Bill Clinton and Chelsea Clinton talking about their wonderful family life and their Bill Clinton and their life together. Anyone even fractionally close to the Clintons who's done a modicum of research into the Clintons knows that it's a marriage of convenience for both of them. They go off, do their own thing. But, oh no, it's the Clintons. It's a marriage of convenience. That's all it is. I mean, Bill will be rubbing his hands now about all the money they can make selling privilege to the highest bidder if they get in that White House. Just like they did before when he was in. What a joke it all is. And then we come to Trump. I watched Trump's speech at the Republican convention. And I watched the crowd with the banners and the sticks. And I watched how they reacted to him. Exactly the same as people just reacted to Hillary Clinton. When I was watching the Trump speech last week, I looked at the scene and it could have been Barack Obama when he was accepting the nomination of the Democrats. They call them different names, Republican Democrats, but the mentality of the crowd is just the same. They are looking for a Messiah to save them. And last time with Obama, it was the first black president. Oh, the Messiah. Well, that worked out well for black people, didn't it? What's he done for them? Nothing. And now we're talking about the first woman president with Clinton. What will she do for women? The same. Because they're both serving not women, not black people, but their hidden hand. And so I was looking at Trump. And he was going to make America great again. He was going to take on corporate interests. Why? Because that's what people want to hear, just like with Clinton. Both of them and their running mates, staunch supporters of Israel. That's a gimme. You don't get in if you don't do that, because the hidden hand won't allow it. And he was going to get rid of ISIS very quickly. Sorry about the sun, by the way, not like I do. How is he going to do that? He never said. And he's either not going to do it, or in his barely one-dimensional mind, he's going to carpet bomb the whole of the Middle East, shooting in all directions. He was going to stop trade agreements like the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, which are really bad for people, but great for corporations. And then he takes on a running mate, Mike Pence, who is for all of it, who stands for everything that Trump says he doesn't stand for. Same with this Tim Kaine, this running mate of Clinton. His record, support banking regulation, support the trade agreements, all the things she's saying, oh no, we'll take that on. And the whole thing is so unbelievably simple, and it works every time. You tell people what they want to hear to get elected, and then you do what you were always going to do, because that's what the hidden hand in your corporate masters are insisting that you do in return for their support. But like I say, there were some good signs in the way that Bernie Sanders supporters made their feelings very clear, in the way that their campaign was systematically undermined by the very Democratic Party establishment that's supposed to have been there to ensure a fair election. They don't get the big picture clearly, or they wouldn't have been at the Democratic convention at all, because they'd realised that politics is never going to change anything, because it's not meant to, it's not what it's there for. But at least they're starting to see the scale of corruption on one level behind politics and within the political parties, to ensure that the chosen ones of the hidden hand are the ones that run for president, and not some maverick who could cause a problem. And they either accept that and carry on as before in the Democratic Party, or they realise that the politics is irrelevant and start trying to make a difference in another way, like organising people outside of politics to challenge their political impositions. There are, after all, a handful of people running politics, compared with more than 300 million people in America, more than 7 billion people in the world. They can only have the power to do what they do because we give it to them. And I must say, I have been desperately disappointed with Bernie Sanders. He was a man, what is he, 74? What's to gain anymore, Bernie, by falling in line with the establishment? What's to gain? He had confirmation through these emails, he must have known before anyway, that there was a concerted campaign and conspiracy to stop him getting the nomination, no matter what support he had, because Hilary was the chosen one. And then it has all this confirmation with the emails, like I say. And even then, he falls into line, plays the game, says support Hillary Clinton, announces her nomination, etc., in the hall. You know, the point has come, if anything's going to change, where people have to start doing what is right and stop doing what they think is the done thing. Bernie Sanders had the opportunity to make a fantastic difference. He could have said, having looked at the choices we've got, there is no choice in my opinion. So therefore I cannot nominate Hillary Clinton. And I cannot support Donald Trump. So I'm stepping back and letting people decide for themselves. That would have made a massive, massive statement in terms of showing the system for what it is, corrupt, and what political choice is for what it is, an illusion. But instead, he plays the game and leaves it to his supporters to try to make those points. So I hope the penny's starting to drop with more and more people. I kind of know it is going around Australia. I feel that happening here and in other places. The understanding that politics is going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. We need to come together as people outside the political system and start refusing to cooperate with it. Because unless we do, nothing's going to change. You know why? Nothing can.